Hello and welcome to the NFT Roundup. I'm your host Jimmy T, and thanks for joining us for your weekly roundup of the NFT news. Today, special guest is Calcio. He's back in town. How are we doing, Calcio?
I'm back, baby, and I'm better than ever. No, I'm great, actually. I'm really excited to be back on my own podcast. And yeah, I know our co-hosts have been fantastic for the last few weeks. But it's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah. No, we had Toby Lasso on, it wasn't last week's because we didn't actually do one last week, but we had Toby Lasso, who was a fantastic guest, and we also had Harvey from The Blocks, and we're very grateful to both of them for coming on and helping me present the news. Today, we're going to cover a number of stories that have happened over the last couple of weeks in the NFT space. We're going to look at Samsung's plans to integrate the Nifty Gateway into their TVs. We're going to have a quick chat about the Axie Infinity hack. We're going to explore the Azuki Airdrops. I know there's been a lot of excitement around them. We're probably going to talk a little bit about Elon buying a share of Twitter, OpenSea integrating Solana into their ecosystem, and even touch on some of the UK plans around crypto reforms and how it affects us in the NFT space. So Samsung are planning to integrate Nifty Gateway into their TVs. This is going to open up NFTs and the Nifty Gateway marketplace to a much wider audience. They're also going to seamlessly integrate it into traditional finance. So it's going to be a bit of a lower barrier of entry because people are going to be able to buy NFTs with their normal debit and credit cards. What are your thoughts on this, Calcio?
Well, as I said to you earlier, I've just bought my new house, and one of the biggest things I need to do is sort out the front room. And what I need in the middle of the front room is a nice big television. But I don't want it to be super abrasive, right? I don't want it to be the centerpiece. So I'm going to get one of those nice ones that sits on the wall. Samsung, yeah, because they actually offer the specific model, which is like a picture frame, right? So you can display anything you want on it, right? Nice art, whatever. And I think this is actually a really good opportunity for NFT artists to be displayed. Now, this is where obviously I'm not going to put like my profile picture NFTs on a loop. It'd be a bit weird. But things like Drift's latest drop, that sort of thing, it's just one of many examples, would look great. And it's also something which I feel offers the opportunity to give a bit more physical utility to someone who doesn't get NFTs.
Yeah.
So whether or not it's going to be massively beneficial, like super honestly, am I ever going to buy an NFT using my TV? Probably not. Yeah. But the opportunity to, I guess, just add it to a banquet of different ways that mainstream companies are using NFTs, I guess in that sense is good. I guess it offers another thing we can say when Samsung are doing this and whatever else.
Well, I think it's sort of Nifty Gateway, their kind of USP or the sort of sector of the NFT space that they're cornering is the fact that they're trying to both onboard traditional artists into NFTs, and they offer a lot of traditional artists on their marketplace, people like Beeple. Everyone who's going to have a Samsung TV was going to have access to this app. So it's just, as I said earlier, much wider audience base. It should help onboard some normies. One issue I've got with it, have you ever used a decent smart TV app? Is there actually any app that you've actually had a decent user experience on?
Usually they're a little bit shaky, aren't they? They're not perhaps optimized the best. But then again, I guess for me, it would be more focusing on it just being another acceptance of Web3. Mm-hmm. As opposed to this is a great thing that you must use.
Yeah. One of the issues I do have with it, though, is for me, one of the things I really liked about NFTs is that it was a gateway for normies to get into crypto. And you can get someone who's interested in an existing brand that then releases an NFT, like, for example, like Marvel characters or whatever brand they might be interested in launching an NFT. It was a good gateway for people getting into crypto. But the fact that you can buy these NFTs using sort of your Visa card, your debit, or your credit card, you kind of lose that benefit of the NFT space. That is one issue I kind of see with it.
It's inevitable, though. I'm pretty sure that you can now start to use your card to buy from OpenSea. So it's a tough one. I mean, one of the biggest conversations I'm having at the minute is whether I buy a CryptoPunk. First of all, I feel that they're reasonably priced compared to the fact that, they are what they are. But one of the only sort of hesitations I have with them is that the reason I feel like they were so cool is because they were this indie kind of like fuck the band kind of thing, where it was like a real standout because of what they'd done from where they come from. Now that they've been bought by Yuga Labs, does that mean that they are much more kind of like Starbucksy? Yeah. And by consequence, do we have to kind of just hold our hands up now and say that we are not early anymore, in the sense that there's never going to be another Bored Ape? Those sorts of things, those days are gone.
I've not heard of Jimmy.
I have heard of Jimmy Down. That's why I definitely know it's not going to rug pull him. But I guess for me, you've got to just draw the line on wanting the indie coffee shop version of NFTs now and accept that it is now Starbucks. And instead of looking at it as a negative, just go, okay, well, where can I still enjoy this space? It's hard. There are lots of complications that come from it being less community driven. Like you'll have seen the goop dudes or whatever they're called that have come out. They just sat in a space just saying goop for 2.5 hours, which is very reminiscent of like the early days of Bored Ape and things like that, when they're just going, ooh, that's still going to happen.
Do it again.
I don't think I can turn you on too much, especially on a recording. Those things, that sort of degenning, as it's so frequently called, it's still going to happen. But it's just, that's it now, right? We're just, that's the space we live in. We've got to get on with it. Credit cards will come in. Yeah. Because they don't want to buy ETH. People just want to be able to go buy the picture and say they've bought a monkey.
I think it makes me a bit sad. I want people to onboard. I'm a crypto guy. I'm a crypto native. I've been in crypto since 2017. I want people to pump my bags by more people coming in. And it kind of relates to Visa's announcement as well. They put an announcement out last week that they're setting up an NFT creator program to bring small businesses into the digital economy. And they've also got aspirations that they want all the major marketplaces to accept Visa as a payment. So yeah, I think we're not far away from that happening. But for me, I'd like people to use crypto in this crypto native space. Right, let's move on. So the second story that we're covering today is the Axie Infinity hack. Did you hear about this one?
I don't know how you couldn't have heard about this. It was pretty bloody mental.
Unless you're living under an ether rock. See what I did there?
I don't want to talk to you, mate.
I don't talk to you. So the exploit occurred within the Ronin bridge, which is a way of sending crypto between Axie's own blockchain and ETH mainnet. The Ronin network detailed that 173,600 ETH and 25.5 million USDC was stolen, with a total value of around 620 million USD. So that is pretty much setting it as one of the biggest crypto heists in crypto history. Now, the hack itself was due to a security lapse, kind of more of a human error than a technical fault. I know they've got a multi-sig wallet, which has 9 signers, and they needed 5 to approve any transactions. And I think one person had access to 4 of those wallets, so they just basically hacked that one person had 4, and they just had to get another one. It basically meant that they were able to extract 620 million from the ecosystem, and no one even noticed for, I think it was like 4 days that nobody noticed. Someone put out a meme on Twitter that they said they saw that the hack had happened, so they immediately shorted Axie's sort of coin, but because no one noticed, it pumped and liquidated them.
No, that's what happened. That's literally what happened.
I wasn't sure if this guy was just taking the mic.
No. That's what the guy did. So basically, what he did is he then shorted it, thinking I'm the smart guy. They're going to notice, and then because he didn't notice, there was just like a general random pump, and then that pump liquidated him because he just shorted it and he lost all the money.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, I don't mean to laugh. It's awful for anyone who's kind of lost any money. I would say from experience in the space is normally when we get something like this that it does come good for the people who've lost out, and a lot of the money normally gets returned. It gets redeemed. People cover it. Axie, I know that they've already raised a number of funding. I think they covered about 25% of it through money that they've already raised in relation to the hack. Also, the benefits of blockchain is everyone's kind of tracking this money. I know I heard that an amount of it had been sent to FTX, which will clearly get claimed, I would have thought. But I have now heard since, in the last couple of days, that also a big chunk of it has been sent to Tornado Cash, which is where they can kind of mix it up so that people don't know where it's going. I think this kind of thing really highlights the risk of this bankless society that we want to push into. Now, I'm a big fan of self-sovereignty and of the whole kind of bankless push, because I can kind of take responsibility for my own wallet. It's easy for me to say because I've never been hacked. I haven't lost anything, so I haven't had the kind of bitterness of that. And I'm really, really careful with anything that I sign, any kind of screen sharing that I do. I always assume I'm being hacked through any kind of communication that I have with anyone. But you have to be in this space. You have to be responsible for your own security. That's kind of the whole premise of cryptocurrency, that you are your own bank. You're cutting out the middlemen, but through that you do lose a lot of the protection that you would have had through having a massive multi-billion dollar corporation looking after your money for you. So to put this in perspective, $14 billion is how much money illicit cryptocurrency addresses received last year, which was up 80% from the year prior, and obviously an all-time high in cryptocurrency-based crime. Have you been hacked?
No, which is impressive. I just super candidly, having kind of listened to your monologue there, I don't really think the vast majority of people I know are ready for that at all.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to be the massive rejection that we get, just whether you like it or not. As a realist, you've got to accept that if you look at the two next door neighbours you've got left and right of you, do you really confidently believe that they would be willing to take on, because this is a willing choice, right? It's not like the banking system where you're a kid, you get a debit card, credit card, whatever, and that's just life. Crypto is a choice, and as more forward-thinking people, in a financial sense, then you can go, okay, cool, it makes sense because X, Y, Z. I cannot imagine either of my neighbours being gassed about losing that security, because they don't need to lose it. That's probably going to be a different conversation for a different day, but that's the big pondering that we have to cross.
I mean, we could deep dive into the fact that, all the banks are out there
corrupt,
massively corrupt, spending loads of money. When they fail,
stop me spending my money.
We end up bailing them out with our own money anyway. Big corporations are making an absolute ridiculous amount of money off us.
Do you know what it is?
Not lending money to lower social classes and particular ethnic groups. But let's not go down that rabbit hole.
One of the biggest things that's changed, the final thing I'll say in the banking industry, is that before the onus was on them to prove that your money wasn't yours, but now the onus is on you to prove that it's yours, and that's where a lot of crypto people have an issue. Crypto natives have an issue because they go to withdraw money that they've made legitimately via trading in a legitimate market, and because the onus is on them to prove it, it's okay if you explain to me, oh yeah, I traded X, Y, and Z coin and I made $1 million. That's cool. I get it. I can see it and I understand how to do the blockchain. You can't explain that to a fat cat bank. I don't have a bloody clue. And that's one of the biggest issues that we have is the onus is on you as
over-regulated is already in comparison to the normal financial markets, like all the kind of KYC and things like that. You have to prove exactly where all your money's coming from in crypto, it seems these days, and it's completely different to the normal financial systems where you have actually some actual privacy. We're going to find we're in a stage of, I keep calling it pathfinding, where they're going to be looking around to try and find what is the right amount of regulation for the space. And I think that actually leads us beautifully onto a story that I was going to say for the end, but we'll cover now. And it's the fact that the UK has revealed some plans for crypto reforms. So, Economic Secretary John Glenn said the UK was open for crypto business, which gets me excited. Obviously, we're both based in the UK. They want to bring stable coins under their regulatory framework, and basically bring out some legislation so that they can be a useful and accepted form of payment for all goods and services in the UK. The Treasury said with appropriate regulation, they could provide a more efficient means of payment and widen consumer choice. And this will contribute to make the UK a global hub for crypto asset technology. So I find that pretty exciting, and I think it's actually one of the good things to come out of Brexit, actually, where Brexit has caused quite a lot of issues for some sectors. It's a lot of cost for a lot of people, but there have been some benefits, and one of those is that the UK is having to kind of find its way of bringing back some of the money into the country, and one of those things that we can do is be market leaders in fintech.
Well, Rishi Sunak, who is, again, a polarising character, won't go into his specifics, he's actually asked the Royal Mint, the geezers who make our stamps, to make the first British-led NFT. There's no further details on this, but just as another update, there were some really quite negative EU-based and UK-based things that came out as well that were perhaps less bullish.
So yeah, I think it's pretty positive news. Hopefully, we don't want the space to be over-regulated. I have no idea what this Bank of England NFT is going to be like. Hopefully, it's not profile pictures based on the governor of the Bank of England, wearing different hats. and cigars.
I'd buy it, mate. Imagine the Queen, like as a natural form as a lizard.
That'd be cool. Yeah, get the Queen, literally with different different traits. Yeah, I'm up for it.
With as a lizard with her corgis like eating her and things like that. That'd be great.
As a lizard, yeah. It's just the next creeps airdrop. Talking of airdrops, I'm segueing lovely in this episode. Talking of airdrops, we're going to cover the Azuki airdrop. Did you pay much attention to this over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, big pile of dirt.
A bit rude, but yeah, Azuki is one of the first mainstream anime projects that's really sort of blown up and can probably be considered as a upcoming or a existing blue chip NFT collection. Now, they unveiled an airdrop to their members at a private NFT LA party that was for holders. It was a little bit of a dodgy one, a bit like Yuga Labs with the Meebits running up before the news came out. The floor price had doubled before the airdrop was actually announced. So again, unregulated space, insider trading seems to be going on. But the general thing that's happened is each holder has been airdropped 2 NFTs, which started off as a crate parachuting, and then it updated on April Fool's Day on April the 1st to where the crate landed, opened up, and it was a big pile of dirt. This was to create a bit of a Twitter storm. They definitely got the marketing right on this, with people trying to wonder if it was an April Fool's joke or not. I mean, the price maintained. It was around, I think, 3 or 4 ETH at the time.
It went up when it was
for these crates and for the dirt. But now it's further updated, and it's a little red bean pod with a little character that keeps sort of poking its little head out, and you see its eyes. And I think the current floor price today is 5.4 ETH. Regret not having Azuki?
The thing is that if you remember quite clearly, I got paid by a client in crypto, and I had a nice big juicy bag of things to buy, and I went through a list, and I had a very clear list, and Azuki was on that list.
Yeah.
And
so you're sorted then?
Can't tell you I didn't buy one, genuinely. I think I wrote a brief thread on it as well. It's a testament to why you need a plan in the NFT space, why you need to stick to it, and why you need to also, more important than anything else, not just fade shit just because you don't like it. I'm not an anime guy. So I was like, I won't get one. And that's cost me, because when I say this, I'm not salty about it, but if I bought one, 2 airdrops, that's 11 ETH at current price, floor of an Azuki's absolute bang. So a good lesson there is don't fade shit just because you don't love it. I think it's really interesting though, because it's obviously a very westernized market now, anime. I've sold a lot of anime products, which is cool. But equally, it does show that there is a lot of power coming through from the Eastern world as well, which is one thing which we were originally unsure whether it would kind of.
Well, Chinese regulation is so up and down on crypto, and it's affected the market so much. I think China tends to ban crypto every year, which is always weird. This is you're banning it again? What the hell? But they really actually seem to be open to NFTs, and they opened the door for it. A couple of months ago? I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was a big surge of interest from Asia. In NFTs after that point, and I think it's coincided beautifully. Yeah, Fantabev. What a terrible drop! It's coincided beautifully with the Azuki drop, and what now? It ran up to over 30 ETH floor. It's currently sitting around 25.
So one of my biggest client bases was Singapore. It was a huge market for collectibles out there, and I think that's again a lot where the business is coming from. But I also think what's quite interesting is if you really look at profile picture-based projects, ignore whether or not they've got loads of utility around them or not, blah, blah, blah. Really, very, very few profile picture-based projects have broken that 30 ETH barrier. If we and when we do look at the ones that have...
Did Mutant Apes, they've kind of got up close a few times. 29?
29. Yeah, I mean, they're like 27 barrier now.
Because it's like 100K, isn't it, in USD?
And I'm not saying they don't count, but they're obviously the companion drop of the biggest project in the space, right? So discounting that, Cyberkongs, which are not just a profile picture at all, there's a huge different, spectrumization of banana and everything like that. And then obviously punks, which again, in my opinion, it's not they don't count, but it's like they have a very specific reason they did it. For Azuki to do it in 2 months is mental.
A news story that broke this week is about Elon Musk buying 9.2% of Twitter. Now, you're probably wondering what the hell has this got to do with NFTs? But the NFT space is kind of managed by Twitter. That is where a lot of it goes on. If you're into NFTs and you're not on Twitter, you are not experiencing sort of a huge percentage of what the NFT space is about, because it's a lot of where the communities hang out. It's a lot of where the meme kind of, because we're embedded in meme culture, where that kind of exists. It's a lot of discussion on the future of the market, what's happening. A lot of it is happening on Twitter. So I think it's an important story to cover. Now, a bullish thing to me on Twitter, and thing that I've always been a big criticized Twitter about, is censorship. I'm not a big fan of heavy-handed censorship on any of these kind of systems, which is why I'm a big advocate of cryptocurrency and decentralization. And I know that Elon Musk has made a number of comments in the past that would suggest that he is of that same way of thinking as well, and that he believes that Twitter is over-censored at the moment. And I'm hoping with him now taking a commanding share in the company that he's going to introduce some policies that are more there for protecting free speech, not censoring what people say. I mean, for example, there was recently evidence of a load of tweets that had been deleted by Twitter and taken off by Twitter that were advocating the Trump in the last American election. Actually turned out to be true, and they removed them. They were because they weren't in Joe Biden's favor, which it just shows how bad that this kind of censorship can be. So it's a positive move for me. It's a bit of a meme already. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, the two things to preface it with are that, first of all, he's the richest geezer in the world. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He made the biggest bag ever off of this as well. Like, he made absolute racks off of the trade, so fair play. And equally, it's still super important to remember, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, right? As an example of another, second richest man in the world.
Crazy.
Right? So what really underlies for me is, even if he's lenient with the freedom of speech on Twitter, the richest man in the world now controls the most socially conversant platform in the world. Yeah. I get that a rich guy's always going to own Twitter. But I do think it's pretty prevalent to remember that this guy's not done it all for the people. He's done this to make money and also to control a narrative, good or bad. And he obviously is one of the cleverest people on the planet. Like, the guy's made absolute racks, and also completely embraces the meme culture of Twitter, shit posts and everything like that, because he knows people get high on it.
I do love it. Yeah. Edit button on Twitter.
Mate, I delete so many tweets, but not because they're like things I'm not wanting to tweet, but because I've just like typed things completely wrong or missed a spelling check or whatever. As long as it's got an edit history on it, I don't see what the issue is. It's just because obviously, you just chat. I mean, it's obvious, right? If I tweet something and everyone's like, it's fantastic, and I change it to a really horrible opinion on anything, and you've got like Barack Obama retweeting it or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It looks terrible, doesn't it?
Everyone buy Pixelmon.
Yeah, literally. But
after you've got 1,000 likes on your
by the way, I don't know if you've actually put this in there, but Pixelmon haven't tweeted since the end of February.
Have they not? Have they actually rugged?
No. Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't think anyone's got the balls to rug 70 million, because that's insanity. And the guy who obviously owns the project is pretty well known. But they equally haven't tweeted since the 28th.
Well, they're probably saying that they're just building.
Building. They are building. And do you know what?
25th of February was the last. Oh my God, that's so bad. And that is literally, they haven't tweeted since they hatched.
We're building.
We're building, man.
We're just building, bro.
We're just building. Meme. Do you know what would turn out to be really bad? If Pixelmon turned out to be behind all the Kevin meme projects as well.
No, I'd be down for that, man. I'd be like, that then becomes clever.
Can you imagine? And then they use the 70 million to do Frank. And
do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I didn't mind Frank.
It was Frank's hilarious. So if you join their Discord, they've got two channels. One's Frank and the other one's Frank. That's it. But it's just I love the memes. You know I do. You've seen Jimmy Dow. I love a meme. I need to do a Frank Jimmy Dow.
One of the biggest things you have to do in Web3 is lean into the meme. I think it's quite a well documented sort of prophecy, and there's a list of things that we could all kind of spiel out that make a bit of generally rambly sense. One of the biggest ones. You've got to link to me.
Well, it's because they're all
Motherfuckers.
managed on Twitter. Like literally the whole of the NFT space is based on Twitter, and Twitter is obsessed with memes. So yeah. The last story that we're going to cover on today's episode, or this week's episode, I should say, of the NFT Roundup, is OpenSea planning to integrate Solana into the marketplace. Well, I think they've already started doing this. So currently, OpenSea has Ethereum, Polygon, and Clayton in its ecosystem. They're planning to bring Solana in, which is already a pretty popular blockchain for NFTs. This should increase their revenue because I think they're starting to lose a little bit of market share to some of their competitors. So the biggest existing Solana marketplace is Magic Eden. They lead at the moment with about $40 million USD of trading volume. That was over the last sort of 30 days. That compares to OpenSea's trading volume of about 3.4 billion over the same time scale. So recently, I think we've seen that OpenSea have gone through a wave of changes and updates over the last few months to try and keep its market share as new marketplaces come into the space. I know LooksRare released in January, and they've already facilitated over $20 billion of trading volume since they released, which is not a small amount. That is a large amount of trading volume. They've also made a number of changes to try and improve their user experience, as well as plug some of the holes and the bugs that have been exploited in recent days that have been very well publicized on Twitter, of people losing high value assets on what people have described as exploits. But yeah, so interesting to see that OpenSea are doing this. What are your thoughts on this, Cassie?
Without being too facetious, I don't care. Because OpenSea, no, seriously, I don't. I think OpenSea is the biggest example of a negligent company, one of the worst companies I've seen. They have allowed and inhibited millions of dollars to be lost from their user base that has made them a stupid amount of money. What we need is good customer support. What we need is a genuine team to deal with problems that already exist.
My next point on this was going to be, it's great that they're doing these changes to improve their user experience and plug some of those exploits. But the biggest complaint we always hear about OpenSea is about their customer service and trying to get a response to them about anything. The real low-hanging fruit for this company that earns, on average, $4 million a day in trading fees is actually putting together a strong customer service and customer support team that can actually deal with some of these issues and actually give some of their users some reassurance.
That's not even expensive. That's not even like and I don't mean to be, if you put that in the regular place you get customer service. Yeah. And this is from experience, it's not an expensive procedure. It's not like it's going to break the bank. If you're only $4 million a day, and I appreciate there's overheads and whatever else, that should be a bare minimum. And you've got to get over the facade of we are Web3, so we're...
It also raised $300 million in January.
In seed round, yeah. So you've got to get over this bullshit, and I'm not being, again, I'm trying not to be facetious. You've got to go this bullshit of Web3, man, we're all Indian hop. No, we need proper customer service when someone's making that much money. The fact that I can sell an asset and assets have sold for millions of dollars, and if I have an issue, I can't quickly send someone a message on a live chat and get a reply in minutes.
It kind of pisses me off. It's they're really good at responding to Bored Ape holders because they're so well publicized in the space. But then anyone else loses a big asset from a different collection, you just don't get a response for 6 weeks, and they just don't give a shit.
And even then, Bored Ape holders have massive issues, right?
Yeah. They still do, absolutely.
And I appreciate massively, and this is the harsh reality of the world, right? If someone and it's not going to happen. Say Pranksy gets scammed, right? Then obviously they're going to reply in 5 seconds because of the negative publicity, which shows that they can do it. They have the facilities to actually take care of their customers. They're just going, nah, we're actually going to pick and choose who we give a shit about, which, again, I appreciate every business will do that. I get it. I totally understand. Do it a bit more fucking subtly when we're giving you $4 million a day. Come on.
But I completely agree that, huge customer service and process overhaul would be the best thing they can do. Solana, I know most people want to just transact on ETH mainnet as their main blockchain. I've only really bought NFTs on ETH and a few little things on Kronos. But when people realize that the Ethereum merge is not going to lower gas fees, you might find that some of these chains actually get a little bit more popular. It doesn't look like we're going to get lower gas fees on Ethereum until probably 2023. And with them moving to a deflationary model where the price is surely going to be going up by dramatic amounts, the cost of these gas fees is going to go up a lot. And I think it's going to become a big barrier of entry for people for NFTs in the latter half of 2022. I think Q3, Q4 2022, ETH mainnet is going to be a really difficult place to transact on because the gas fees are going to be so high. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And it's good to have these additional options for some other projects. So yeah, thanks for tuning into the NFT Roundup. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have got this far and you haven't already liked and subscribed, make sure that you do. We'd quite like you to leave a comment and let us know what you thought of the episode and tell us if there's any news that you think we've missed. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Anything to add, Calcio?
I don't like OpenSea, but I had a great time recording this episode.
Brilliant. All right, thanks very much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.